Hello, Madam Pro Tem. I see you. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. We see you as well. Thank you. Right now she'll hear you.
Hello.
Let me take this off.
Hi.
So you should, so you should have it well memorized, huh? From kindergarten to now. Oh, are you using that?
No, because I know you're old.
See how my face is dangling? Okay. I wanted to cut my blood circulation up. Who? You guys ready down there? Everybody ready? Good. Okay, it is now 6:30. I'm going to bring this meeting of the Lawndale City Council to order. This meeting is now in session. I'm going to ask the city clerk to conduct the roll call. Madam City Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. Mayor Pro Tem Suarez,
Here remotely.
Councilmember Kearney,
Here.
Councilmember Hoffman Gorman,
Here.
Councilmember Cuevas,
Here.
Mayor Poland Miles.
Here.
All members are present.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. We have a council meeting tonight that's going to be participating remotely on Zoom. I will ask the city attorney to explain this and explain the rules for this particular meeting. Madam City Attorney, Madam City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
City Attorney.
Yes, and this is for the benefit of the public. The City Council has been informed of this. The Brown Act, under its longstanding incarnation, allowed remote participation under very limited circumstances, including posting a notice of the location site. Assembly Bill 2449, which came in the wake of the COVID pandemic, allowed for two other types of remote participation, and those are called just cause or emergency circumstances. Under the just cause provision, which has been triggered tonight, a member of the legislative body may, at two different times in a given year, appear remotely. To do so, they have to inform the rest of the legislative body at the first possible circumstance, and they need to meet one of the categories of just cause. In this case, the Mayor Pro Tem's just cause is a need related to a physical disability. In this case, and I am supposed to give on the record a very short description, and this would be treatment for an ongoing disease that requires the Mayor Pro Tem to be in or very near the treatment facility. There are special rules for a just cause or an emergency circumstances participation. First of all, the person participating remotely must keep their video on the entire time. Audio must be on unless the person is coughing or, there's a special need to turn it off, but then it should be immediately turned back on. And if there are any persons over 18 in the room or any persons over 18 come in or out of the room, it should be announced. That way the public knows exactly what's going on with the person who's participating remotely. In addition, all votes must be made by roll call, so you will hear the city clerk call the roll tonight, and then the votes will be entered and put up on the screen. If the Zoom goes down, we have to stop the meeting until it's back up. This is not so much for the benefit of the legislative body member, it's actually for the benefit of the public. Because the public is allowed to participate remotely, and because there is, in fact, a link on the agenda, any members of the public who've chosen to participate remotely or who would choose to join at any time in the meeting need to have the right to do so. So if the system goes down, then we have to stop the meeting. If the public's worried, we do have some ways to deal with Zoom bombing. The city clerk's office is using a type of Zoom program that allows them to stop, to mute people and then to excuse them if need be. So I hope that answers any questions for the public, lets you all know what's happening. And just as a final matter, the Mayor Pro Tem did advise me of this, and I advised the council on the day that city staff confirmed that we would be able to set this up. So, Mr. Mayor, back to you. And again, I hope that satisfies us administratively.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Okay, let's continue with our agenda. We're on our ceremonial portions.
Roll call?
We did have the roll call. We did have the roll call,
Okay.
right?
We just can't see it on our screen.
Yeah,
well,
that's
we-
why I didn't see it.
Right. We heard it, though. We had the roll call.
I've heard everything.
Okay, so the next portion of our agenda is our ceremonial portion. I'm going to ask Pastor George Magalini from Hope Chapel. He's going to lead us in the prayer, but we're going to pledge of allegiance first by Councilwoman Cuevas. Please join us.
Please stand. Remove any hats. Right hand over your heart. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, staff. Just a scripture and a short prayer tonight. The scripture's from Isaiah chapter 41, starting with the 6th verse. And it's God speaking through the prophet, and he says this: I took you from the ends of the earth. From its furthest corners I called you. I said, you are my servant. I've chosen you and have not rejected you. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Let's pray. Father, we praise you and thank you for your word and just the comfort and the promise that it brings our lives. And Lord, I thank you for your grace upon the city of Lawndale all these years, Lord. And you who began that, you will carry it on to our completion until we see you face to face. But Lord, we ask, as you've told us to do, we petition you for this city, Lord. We pray your protection and your grace upon every citizen, especially our children. Bless them and protect them in every aspect of life, and our seniors, as we give honor to whom honor is due. Our first responders, Lord, our sheriff's department and fire department, we thank you for protecting them as they protect us. We thank you for the shining example that Lawndale is to our surrounding communities, Lord. Pray that they would be inspired by all the good things that are happening here, including the prosperity and the peace that comes from you. Thank you for your wisdom tonight. I personally pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor, for joining us tonight for those words of inspirations. Let's have our public safety report. We're going to hear from our lieutenant tonight. Okay. Lieutenant Osborne will give the public safety report tonight. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, esteemed members of the City Council, and members of the community. I am Ricky Osborne, the lieutenant assigned to the City of Lawndale, and I'm here to present the public safety report for September 17th through October 7th. I'll begin by discussing our notable arrests and investigations. On September 23rd at approximately 8:15 p.m., Deputy Daniel Cano received a stolen vehicle alert from the automated license plate reader camera located at Artesia Boulevard and Inglewood Avenue. Within minutes, he located the stolen vehicle at Hawthorne Boulevard and Artesia Boulevard. A felony traffic stop was conducted and one male adult was arrested. The suspect was booked for driving a stolen vehicle, and the suspect was not a Lawndale resident. On October 6th, at approximately 2:15 p.m., Deputy Anthony Sanchez, along with assisting deputies, responded to 4600 block of 147th Street regarding an assault with a deadly weapon just occurred call. Deputy Sanchez contacted the victim, who stated his female neighbor attempted to assault him with a knife and was threatening him. Deputy Sanchez detained the female suspect and recovered a knife at the scene. After completing his investigation, the female was arrested for burglary and criminal threats. The suspect was a resident of Lawndale City. Regarding our traffic-related incidents, approximately 69 citations were issued during the reporting period for various vehicle code sections, such as failure to stop at a stop sign, failure to stop at a red traffic light, and speeding. For community engagement, the next Neighborhood Watch meeting is scheduled for October 16th at the Harold Hoffman Community Center at 6 p.m., and everyone from the community is invited and encouraged to attend. This concludes my report, and I would be happy to answer any questions the council may have.
Okay, thank you for that report. Are there any questions of the lieutenant's report? Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say thank you to your deputies. The residents of certain block right now are very happy. Thank you.
I appreciate it. I'll pass that on.
Okay, thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
All right. Just All right, all right. We appreciate the claps. Normally, we don't have claps, hissing, booing, and things of that nature because we want to make sure that everyone is treated the same. Because what if you didn't like the report? I'm just playing, but anyway. Let's go ahead with our agenda. Let's hear from, there you go, the Assistant Fire Chief, Brian Kane.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. Acting Assistant Chief Brian Kane with the Los Angeles County Fire Department with our public safety report for the month of September. Month of September, we had 190 total responses. 118 of those were EMS related. 90 of those were ALS, meaning our paramedic squads provided advanced life-saving protocols to help those individuals. We had one cooking fire, minimal damage to the house and no injuries. And we had 7 responses by our advanced practitioner unit for the month of September. That concludes my report, and I'm free to take any questions.
Any questions of public safety report from the LA County Fire Department?
Just again, thank you for your service, and we're sure glad that you're here, and just continue to be safe out there.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
That's important to us.
Very good.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent. Have a great evening.
You too. Okay. Now we are on oral communications. So I usually have my regular notes that I read, but I have additional notes tonight. So this evening's council meeting, we will offer remote participation for members of the public. After the in-person oral communications are completed, we will then call upon members of the public who are participating virtually on Zoom. Oral communications, when you have the opportunity to speak to this body on items that are not on the agenda. If you'd like to speak to this body on items that are not on the agenda, you may do so at this time. We ask that you line up by the flag when it comes to your turn. If you just approach the podium, if you would start with your name first, we would appreciate that. About 2.5 minutes, the amber light will come on to give you the signal to start wrapping things up. Yes, sir.
Gary Adams, 43-year resident of the city of Lawndale. Some years ago, there was a proposal to go to permit parking for the city. This proposal was fatally flawed. It was killed by the former Mayor Hoffman, and rightly so. What I'm asking the council to do today is to resurrect the idea. Permit parking is the norm in our surrounding cities, and we should have permit parking. And the way this should be done is we should determine the number of residential parking spaces available, and that should be the maximum number of permits that are available. And if we have a stronger demand than that, then we should institute potentially a lottery system for the permits that will be available. These permits should not be free. They should be a minimum to start of $300 per year for a permit. Permits would be 1 year in length, non-refundable. And once this is implemented, the funds gathered from the parking permit fees, in addition to the fines levied for those that are violating the law, will be more than adequate to pay for the program. It was previously identified that the fines alone would have been adequate to pay for the program. This would require at least a part-time or full-time parking enforcement officer. This would require a vehicle. This was all discussed in the previous proposal. We do not have to reinvent the wheel. We can take the previous flawed plan and fix it and make it workable so that we can address this horrendous, ongoing residential parking problem. I've suffered from it myself for the last 43 years. I know for an absolute fact, anybody that knows anything about Lawndale knows that we have a horrendous residential parking issue. Now, it's my understanding that there was a thought, I don't know, was a proposal to steal, in my opinion, residential lots to provide some parking, off-street parking. I think that's fatally flawed and should not be considered because I think it violates the state mandates on density, and we don't have enough houses already. We don't have enough housing units. And when the new state requirements that were passed in the last 2 weeks are implemented, we're going to aggravate the parking situation on the residential streets because it allows for the constructions of new units with absolutely no off-street parking. It's going to make the situation worse. So if this is not an idea acceptable to the council, then please tell me what you're doing, what you've done since the last failed proposal. I haven't seen any improvement, no significant improvement to residential parking.
Time's expired.
Excuse me?
Oh, she's giving you this, that was
then
your
you know that
signal
time
to
was
start
up.
Okay,
wrapping
well,
it
it's
up.
about done anyway, so that works good.
Okay.
Anyway.
It works out.
I welcome input, and I am a civil engineer by training, serving my government for almost 35 years.
Yes, sir.
And I'm willing to volunteer my services to help in fixing the situation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Hi there, my name's Andrew Blackney. I'm a proud resident of Lawndale, and would like the city to take into serious consideration getting some work done to modify the traffic light cycles on Rosecrans and Fremona. The light cycles there are incredibly, if not impossible, for a bicyclist to get across the street in a manner of time that would, of the cycle. I know this because I take this route quite literally every day. And so I have just decided, well, let me look at what the average light time is there. The average light time is about 7.6 seconds. To put that in perspective, to get across the Rosecrans, you have to make a right, proceed for about 100 feet, and then make a left in 7.6 seconds. That's absolutely ridiculous. And the only reason I'm able to do that is because I'm on a motorized e-bike, and I'm going at full power, and I'm young and healthy and can do this. If you have any other cyclist, anyone here trying to do that, I would dare you to try. I dare you. You will not be able to do it. Secondly, I recently heard from someone about the Lawndale beat, and they were telling me about how the route's kind of obscure and it's hard to figure out. So I took it upon myself to say, you know what? Let me take this and take the whole route and do it multiple times. So I did that on Saturday. I rode the Lawndale beat for about 3 cycles through the route. And one, there was almost no one on there. I think I saw 2 people the entire time that I was on the route. And to my amazement, it didn't really go anywhere that I thought it would. I honestly thought, well, that did take me to one place. It took me to the mall, which was right, and I thought that was great. But it also didn't take me anywhere near any of the schools, which I think it should be one of the first things that the beat goes to. It should stop by all the schools, and it should be free for students to get on there to encourage them to be able to take a system that we pay for, and it would get the ridership up on it. So those are really the 2 things for me, is I dare all of you to try and bicycle across Rosecrans at Pomona Street sometime before the next council meeting so that you can understand how hard that is. And I would encourage you to try to figure out how to alter the Lawndale Beats route so that it goes by schools so that students can use it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, my name is Doug McAllister. I'm Vice President of Frontier Communications. And I'm here tonight just to bring awareness to an issue that I'm trying to bring to all the city councils and the county supervisors around the state. And that is the issue of cable theft. You just had one recently here in your area. It took out quite a long strand. And the question is why do I care? Why would you care? It ends up being basically a homeland security issue. When the cables are gone, they're stealing the copper, and the more copper gets valuable, the more they're doing this. We've had over 100% increase over year when it comes to cable theft. And it impacts 911 services, first responders, hospitals, residents, city halls. And when those cables are gone, then the disconnect happens there. The internet goes down, the phones go down, there's no 911 service, there's no dial tone. And we try to get them fixed as fast as we can, but it is getting to be an epidemic at this point. So I'm only here tonight, not asking you really to do anything as much as just to bring the awareness to you. I may come back and ask for something. I'm looking for city council members and such, elected officials to join me. I'm a former elected official myself as mayor of Murrieta, and to join me in forming a coalition to bring this awareness to the right folks to where we can maybe get some more attention to it and such. I do appreciate your law enforcement working with us on this, and we look forward to continuing to do so. But in the meantime, my main focus is just to let you know this is going on. Hopefully, it won't happen again in this area. But right now, what we've discovered is once they hit once, they begin to hit 20 more times. And this will impact services. This will impact your 911 services and your police and fire and things like that, on top of our customers, which are also businesses and residences as well. So I bring that to your attention, and other than that, I'll let you get on with your meeting. So thank you and good night.
Thank you. What was his first name? Yes, ma'am. Doug.
Hello, my name is Michelle Pino, Library Manager over at Lawndale Library. Good evening, members of City Council. I'm excited to be here today to share an update on some of the wonderful programs we are offering at the library this month. Our goal at the library is not just to provide access to books, but create a welcoming space for learning, creativity, and community engagement. This month, we're offering a wide range of programs designed for all ages. In and Out cover-to-cover reading program. We've partnered with In and Out for the reading incentive, encouraging children from ages 4 to 12 to participate in the cover-to-cover program. By reading 5 books or completing 300 minutes of reading, children earn a certificate for a free hamburger or cheeseburger. This incentive runs through November 16 and promotes literacy while rewarding kids with their achievements. This month, we invite children to stop by the library and write a letter to Pete the Cat. This fun activity encourages early literacy skills, including writing and scribbling, which helps build school readiness. On Wednesday, October 16 at 3:30 p.m., children ages 5 through 12 are invited to learn about the pumpkin growing process at Lawndale's Community Garden. After learning about the seasonal favorite, participants will get to paint their own pumpkin to take home, creating a perfect blend of education and creativity. On Wednesday, October 23rd, 5:30 p.m., we are offering a stress management workshop for teens. Participants will have the opportunity to create their own stress balls and learn healthy techniques for reducing stress. On Saturday, October 26th at 12 p.m., teens interested in making a difference in the library and their community can join the Teen Advisory Board. It's a great opportunity to share ideas, suggest new programs and services, and collaborate with peers who share similar interests. We also want to invite everyone to join us on Wednesday, October 30th at 5:30 p.m. for Monster Mashup, a fascinating exploration of famous monsters from literature, myth, and fairy tales. Teens will learn about the origins and evolution of these iconic creatures before painting their own unique monster in a mini pumpkin. On Tuesday, October 22nd at 5, we are hosting ESL Social Club for adults looking to practice their English speaking skills in a supportive, judgment-free environment. Each session focuses on a new topic, helping participants improve their vocabulary, pronunciation, and conversational confidence. In celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, join us on Saturday, October 12th at 3 p.m. to create a traditional Guatemalan barrilletes, or kites. These kites are a symbol of culture and religious traditions in Guatemala, especially during the Day of the Dead, where they represent the connection between the living and the dead. Thank you again for your time and attention. I appreciate your opportunity to share these programs with you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor Pullen and members of the Lawndale City Council. I just wanted to come into this evening to share my thoughts on what I viewed on YouTube with your last City Council meeting. I felt you had a lot of citizens here who came to you with concerns, and I felt like most of you just kind of glossed over them. You didn't address the real issues. They were told to attend neighborhood watch meetings. And I don't think a person who has to work a 40-hour week, sometimes more than 8 hours a day, has it in them to go to a neighborhood watch meeting. That is why you are here. We elected you. You're the ones that are in partnership with the community. to keep us safe, to look out for our best interests, and to mediate when there's an issue between your city manager and the community. Now, when I heard what you were paying your city manager, I was disgusted. $265,000? Not even our congressmen are getting paid that money. We are a city that is 2.3 miles, and I'm not understanding why we're paying a city manager so much money, and the only thing he's doing at this point, or his offices, is going after people for permits and all this other nonsense. And I'm telling you this because I have been directly affected by having to get a permit to knock down a building in my backyard. And it's not even a building, it's a shed from the Home Depot. So I just want to say that we have an election coming up. People are taking notice as to what is being done here. I feel like I had to pick a side, even though I respect both people. I had to pick a side on who's really looking out for the community. I also want to say that when I was watching the YouTube on one of your calendar events or agenda 8A, one said abstain, one said no, and the three of you said okay. I really don't think you should have done that. There were some serious issues that were brought up that I think you should have been looking at. So I just hope you really think about what your community was saying to you at your last visit and really start putting that to heart, because you have to make sure that our city manager is doing what he needs to do for the city, that he can protect us. One other thing is the Lawndale post office trucks have been broken into, and we need to focus on why that's happening instead of focusing on permits so long.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Dear members of the council, my name is Sandra Suarez. At the last council meeting on September 16th, during the council's comments, my concerns with the city manager seemed to fall on deaf ears. At the end of the council meeting, Councilmember Cuevas did request a review of the city manager, which I appreciate. At the last council meeting, Mayor Pro Tem Suarez brought up before the mayor and council that city manager Sean Moore was in violation of a purchasing policy on agenda item 8A, which should have come before council before it was executed. There was no discussion or even mention on this by the rest of the council, but a quick motion by Councilman Kearney and a second by Councilwoman Hoffman-Gorman. The vote was 1 no by Suarez and an abstain by Cuevas, and the rest of the council passed it. So it looks like your city manager is allowed to enforce the codes on the Lawndale residents, but he himself doesn't need to follow them? I guess it makes sense since he doesn't live in this city. In fact, he doesn't even live in this county. This is not honest leadership. I have one more concern. Since Councilwoman Hoffman-Gorman has requested a lobbyist on the agenda, I would like to know why our city is in need of bringing one in. As it was mentioned at the last meeting, you should be looking into your membership fees and other resources that could bring in grants and funding without having to pay for a lobbyist. After all, you just gave your city manager a $60,000 raise and yourselves doubled salaries. I honestly think it's a good idea. I also don't think it's a good idea, especially the way the economy is going. That's all for now.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. Dina, Lawndale resident since 1961. Anyway, I was unable to make it to the last council meeting, but I did watch it from home. Wow, all of a sudden, Councilmember Suarez decides she has a lot of questions of certain things City Manager Moore has done. I've been coming to the council meetings for a few years now, and I can count how many residents attend the meetings on a regular basis. Now people are speaking out and complaining about City Manager Moore. Mr. Moore has done nothing but work hard to make the Lawndale a better place. He's always been polite and tries to help out your situation. I've had to deal with him personally too on a permit type of situation. And yes, he's always been very receptive. So he gave up, I don't know any other city manager who would give up their 4th of July holiday to try and catch the firework violators also. He's brought new businesses to the city. He's doing the outreach on the homeless and help cleaning up encampments. This is all on his own. He doesn't have to. He works hard and gets things done. I like his other YouTube thing, Minute More. I think that's very clever. Good for you. You also have meetings now, I think, twice a month where people, residents, can come in and chat with you directly, which I know you're very open to, sitting down with the public. So those residents who all of a sudden have an issue, maybe they can sit down with him. I know he's willing to meet the public. I believe it's a certain council member who's also running for election to become mayor. I will say, I like the candidate that is for public safety and not for chickens. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Randall Abram. Full disclosure, I am not a neighbor, personal friend, or related to anyone running for council or mayor. I actually live in Lawndale and have regularly attended almost every council meeting for the past 12 years. On September 16th, the attack against the city manager began when the mayor pro tem asked the captain leading questions in an attempt to implicate the city manager in violating law enforcement procedures. The interrogation was unprofessional. The reality is that you do not waste deputies' time simply checking for the proper use of a business license. The mayor pro tem further alleged that the city manager violated city purchasing procedures by signing 2 agreements under $15,000. A review of Lawndale's municipal code section contract award threshold shows that these procedures were followed. Since this process was approved by the city attorney, does she intend to investigate the attorney also? Based only on the oral communication comments of the residents, Councilmember Cuevas decided to request an evaluation of the city manager. Are vague and unsubstantiated allegations all it takes to have the city manager reviewed? One resident was unable to specify his actual concerns other than blaming the city manager. 2 people were there to represent residents afraid to speak for fear of retaliation. Retaliation for what was not stated. The mayor pro tem's mother claimed to represent those victimized for code violations. No specifics offered. I seriously doubt the Director of Municipal Services, Michael Reyes, is harassing anyone. Having requested a copy of the code cases open this year, they appear to be legitimate citations for overgrown vegetation, rodent infestation, unpermitted additions, etc. If a reported violation is not addressed, it is enforcement, not harassment at play. The city manager's salary came under a misinformed attack by the mayor pro tem's mother. She made a comparison to San Antonio Valley School Board Superintendent Jose Fernandez's outrageous salary of over $600,000 years ago. Ms. Suarez, ignoring the salary analysis approved by council, felt that Ms. Moore's salary of $260,000 was outrageous. It was actually less than that. As a former San Antonio School Board member, she failed to disclose that she approved Mr. Fernandez's outrageous salary. At the April 15th, 2024 meeting, approving Mr. Moore's revised contract, the fact that he had not had a raise in 2 years, had 2 favorable evaluations by the city were a factor. The increase did not bring him to parity with many local city managers. In comparison, the current San Antonio Valley School Board Superintendent makes over $286,000. At the meeting at that time, the mayor pro tem voted against the increase, but stated Mr. Moore is passionate about his job and takes it very seriously. She was not concerned about the salary amount, but that it should be dribbled out in increments. What's changed since April? What's changed since April? Oh, that's right, it's an election. And if you can't count your achievements, you need an issue to run on. That's pretty chicken.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm Jay Gould. I was watching the YouTube of how they were attacking Sean. You guys are all councilmen. You guys are all running at one time or another for office. Why do you even bother to attack each other? Don't attack him, attack each other. Those are the ones you want to go against. Don't attack Sean. He's done nothing wrong here. You know what? I had a roof put on one of my houses in Redondo. It was 15 years ago, 15,000. 90,000 now. Things go up. You can't afford that on 250,000. I don't even know how he lives. I'll have him come work for me, and you guys will lose. That guy comes here at 6 in the morning. It doesn't leave till 10 o'clock at night. He is absolutely amazing. You should just look at what he's done. Every meeting I've gone to, he's there. I'm going, what's this guy do? Does he sleep? Does he have a wife? Does he have anybody? It's just deplorable that you would attack him. If you want to attack somebody and you're on the board and you're running against them, attack them. Attack them, or just let the citizens like I do. I love my neighbors. The Bible says in Matthew, love thy neighbor as thyself. Is that showing love? Attacking somebody that this guy has given his heart for? I would take him on my crew anytime. Anytime, he would be my first choice. And I have done with some pretty stupid people. I worked for the city of Inglewood. I worked for the city of Hawthorne on the housing department. I worked at Bell Gardens. I watched the corruption in cities. There isn't. I bring in donuts. Sean says you can't bring them in here because it might show that you're trying to bribe somebody. I said, are you kidding me? And Robert was there. He goes, I'll take one. You know, what is it came? Every time election comes, people attack people. If he's doing something wrong, I'm going to be the first one to go, you're an ass, Sean. Don't do it. I'll be the first one. He has never done anything wrong. He's never tried to hurt anybody. He's always, your dad, Rhonda, was amazing. All you guys were amazing. You've all been to my house. Burnett has not. I wish she would. And I've known her mom forever. I've known her mom forever. We used to hang out at the park when I worked at the park. And when I heard her attacking you, I felt really bad because I love her just as much as I love you. And that is not acceptable in my book. She owes you an apology, and you'll probably never get that. But that isn't right. You have done good. She did good. She was on the school board, and attacking her for being on the school board isn't right either. I mow all my neighbors' yards on my block just so that I can show brotherly love to them. Because the Bible tells me I have to answer to a higher source, not somebody else. I have to hire to the person that loves me, God. And I ain't Sean's friend. I ain't no one's friend. I just know what they're doing a good job.
Time's
You
expired.
guys should not attack them.
Thank you, sir. Okay, at this time, I would, if anyone would like to request to speak that's watching virtually, they can do so at this time by raising their hands, by using the icon button, by rolling over the button on the screen. If you're on a mobile device or on your computer. If you are joining us by phone, however, you can press the *9 button and wait to be called by the city clerk to speak. Press *6 to unmute your line. I'm going to ask the assistant city clerk, are there any members of the public virtually wishing to speak at this time? If so, please announce them.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we do have one person from the public wishing to speak. Speaker, please go ahead.
Yes.
Hi, Pam London and Johnny London to follow. Thank you for the opportunity to call in tonight. I know how much you miss us. It's been 3 years. At the last meeting, I was disgusted by the attacks on the city manager, sheriff's department, and code enforcement. In my years in Lawndale, I do not recall seeing those who spoke. Only one of you, Ms. Suarez, had previously attended that I recall in my 10 years plus attending meetings. If you pull a permit for work, you can avoid a code case. If you maintain and take care of your property, you can avoid a code case. Lawndale code enforcement is reactive, not proactive. That means a complaint was lodged against you and your property. Throughout the years, I have turned in many for code violations. City council should always uphold these codes. So let's be fair. Michael Reyes, take notes. A code case needs to be opened at 4015 West 149th Street for an illegal garage conversion. There are open cases at 4144 West 163rd Street. Check Redfin's description. That doesn't reflect the permit. There's no match. I will continue to follow up in the future. Hopefully, the owners will cooperate with the city and correct any illegal work and additions or conversions to these homes. No one is above the code. Council members should be held to the highest level for compliance to prevent any thought of bias. I would like to address some of the comments made at the last meeting. Andrew, you claimed to know that a former department head had written a letter regarding the city manager. How do you know, and who told you of this letter, its contents, and what action has been taken? Seems to me someone is speaking out of turn. City business, such as that, is not public. I sure would like to know who told you anything. No-name woman, City Council doubled their salary recently, which that means their other benefits were raised. I didn't hear you complain about that. The city manager is still underpaid based on cities of a similar size. One council member voted against the raise. She felt the salary increase should have been on a step-up basis. It was never said that it was
30
not
seconds.
deserved. Sandra Suarez, how dare you speak of someone's salary and mention a particular school superintendent? You were on the school board. You gave that superintendent said outrageous salary and all the perks that went with it. Then you claimed when you asked by an attorney that you did not understand the contract. No excuse. That's even worse, to vote for something you do not understand. Those who live in
Time's
glass houses
expired.
should not throw stones.
Okay. Hello, you all.
Thank you for those
Johnny
comments.
London.
Well,
And I'll
Mr. Mayor,
start my
her
3
husband would
minutes
like to
now.
speak.
Okay, go ahead and proceed with the next speaker.
Go ahead, speaker.
Okay. Hello there, Johnny London. I'm sure you missed me. Hi, everyone. Okay, Eddie, the Suarez family clearly does not have Lawndale's best interest at heart. Voting for outrageous salaries for school superintendents, excessive perks to go with that salary, claiming to not understand after voting for all of that. Explain that one to me. A certain council member has been sitting up there for almost 8 years, and all of a sudden, running for mayor. I guess she decided to call all of you in to bash the city manager. Dumb campaign. No brownie points for you. Carla, you were given the opportunity to review the CC&Rs and then required to sign off. Now you expect the city to forego the code just to please you. Lawndale city codes are online for all of you. In the future, maybe you will do your homework. Mayor, good to see you. The council has beat the bushes, shook the bushes, chopped the bushes. There's no reason for visibility. There is a reason for visibility, and we all know it. If you wanted to change the code, you should have long before now. When we arrived in Lawndale, city manager was Mr. Mandoki, a good man, a good city manager. When he retired, the city hired a very poor choice, an unqualified individual for city manager. Kevin Chung, city manager Kevin Chung can probably take a bow for not bringing only one, but 2 homeless hotels. He was also a great supporter of the Metro. That man had no idea, nor did he care about the residents of Lawndale. He also showed himself to be poor management quality. Mr. Moore, he cares about Lawndale, and it shows. You people are being led around by your nose and told things that are just untrue. This is coming from a family that was held to Lawndale's strictest standards. Trust me. Take care and have a great night.
Thank you for those comments. Madam Assistant City Clerk, are there any more comments virtually?
No, there's no one else wishing to speak. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. At this
Oh,
time-
I'm sorry, there is somebody, excuse me. They just
Yes,
joined
ma'am.
in. Okay. Speaker, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm a resident of Lawndale here, and I wasn't going to say anything today. I was just listening to the meeting. I wasn't going to say anything until, in my view, it seems like an orchestrated attack against certain council members, specifically Mrs. Suarez. And I just want to be clear about something about a lot of us residents in Lawndale that started experiencing a lot of harassment in terms of codes and different type of things that were coming against us and permits. This was a grassroots effort. None of us were approached by Mrs. Suarez to say anything. All of us just shared our concerns, and she happened to listen to those concerns, and we brought those up. So I just want to be clear about something, that this is, the accusations that somehow Mrs. Suarez is doing this because she's running for an election. She's not running against Mr. Moore. He's not up for election, and that's the issue that we're raising, is that we don't get a vote on how much he gets on his salary. We're not voting on that. That's up to the council to do that. All right. So I just want to be clear that Mrs. Suarez in no way is orchestrating any of this attacks against Mr. Moore. This is something that we addressed on our own. So I just want to be clear about that as a resident of Lawndale. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you for those comments.
There's no one else wishing to speak.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll close public comments.
Mr. Mayor, if I can just advise the council, obviously this is a time for you to respond. If we could not respond on anything regarding Mr. Chun, that would be greatly preferable from a legal point of view. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Let's hear from the council. Any comments from the council? Let's hear from Councilwoman Suarez.
What's my name?
What's your name? Cuevas.
Thank you. What's my name? Thank you, everybody, for coming and speaking. I do have something to say about the traffic light on Fermona and Rosecrans. It is, like Andrew said, it is very hard to make a right turn and a quick left turn, so I don't know who we have to speak to in order to time it and see if we could add just a few more seconds there. And then the bus route that we have, our Lawndalian beat, could we look into the routes and maybe by next year we could see if we could include the schools on the route, especially on the residential one. It will probably bring more ridership to our beat. But if we could look into those two things.
Mayor, Council, Lucho's already looking into the issue on Rosecrans, mentioned by the resident, and then I'll talk to Jason about looking into adjusting the route. We have been looking at that, but that's definitely a good comment. We'll look at that as well.
Yes, ma'am. Hoffman Gorman.
Thank you. Thank you to everybody that came out to speak tonight. I appreciate your criticisms and your compliments from everyone. I too had concerns about what Andrew is saying about the lightings there on Fermona and Rosecrans, and think that we ought to be taking care of that, because my concern is not just even about the bicycles, but if it's that short, drivers are having a hard time too. And so I think we need to look at it from a safety standpoint. The Lawndale beat, just like Shirley said, yes, it's been a number of years since we have evaluated. I'm not so exactly sure that it would be the right thing to put it close to schools, because then you have to worry about the school district and if it's okay, and then you have to probably worry, because they're minors, if they were the little kids, what type of permission slips or whatever. That would really have to be looked into. But adjusting the routes, it's been a number of years. Maybe there is a better route choice than what there is. But I'm not an expert in it, but it could be looked into. And I think that that's an appropriate thing to do coming up. Michelle, as always, thank you for keeping us informed on what's going on over in the library. Just the other week, I got to go into the library, and I'm always amazed at the number of people, and you go around in the library and see them working on different things, and it's just an amazing place, and I'm always appreciative of coming in there and seeing, because it doesn't look busy from the outside, but boy, goodness, it is on the inside. So I appreciate that. to the people that are having issues with permits, I would like for you to contact me so that I can walk through it. Maybe I need to learn about it too, because I'm not hearing the complaint from this segment of individuals. And I'm under the impression that the people of the city, the residents, are the most important. And so if you are having a problem, it's up to you to address all of us. We're here, we're listening. We need to be able to ask the questions, but if we don't know that there's an issue, then we can't ask or look into it. Sandra, you mentioned my idea of a lobbyist. Right now, we're building a youth center, which I think is a pretty neat project to be able to do. I'm looking for ways we missed opportunities earlier this year on getting some federal money. I don't want those opportunities to go and Lawndale not be able to get some of the money that's available. And that's why I brought it up. Will I vote for it at the end? I don't know. It's a fact-finding mission. We have to look and see if it is something. I recognize the concerns over finances, but in the long run, if we could get more federal money to put into that project, I think we would be better off. That's how we built the community center. That's how we've been able to do some things around here, is by being able to collect those dollars. So that's my answer on that. I'm kind of shocked that Pam and Johnny called in. I'm sad to say that I didn't exactly hear everything that Johnny said. So I'm hoping that somewhere along the line I can be able to hear what he said, maybe when I go home and listen to YouTube. And the last gentleman, I didn't catch his name, but I agree with Jay, who said we are a community, and coming out and speaking to us is one of the ways that we know what's going on in the community. Plus, our phones all ring, and we're all capable of picking up our phones and listening when you want to call so that you can have longer than 3 minutes in front of us. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mr. Kearney.
Well, I want to thank everybody that spoke tonight. Where's Andrew? I'm going to take you on your challenge. You dare. All right. Because if I'm not mistaken, Ramona has crosswalks on the west side and the east side, where you had said you have to go down east.
Okay.
What?
Let's not have a discussion out in the audience.
Okay, I'm going to take his dare. Thank you, Ms. Librarian, for the information. And with that, I'll pass it on to you, Mayor.
Is that it?
That's it.
No, we got it on Pro Tem Suarez. Ms. Suarez.
Hello. I just want to say thank you to everybody that came out tonight. It is important to get the residents' feedback. So I know my colleagues already addressed a few of the comments that were made. So definitely let's look into that Rosecrans lighting. And then thank you to the Frontier Communications. I've been hearing not only Frontier, but the copper lines keep getting stolen. So it's good to get the awareness out there. Thank you to Ms. Librarian. And then I'm not going to say much other than, everybody's experience has been different when dealing with our current administration. Mine has not been a favorable one. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And just going to pass along to the mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. First, I want to thank everyone who came out tonight and those who had a chance to speak both in person as well as virtually or on the phone. I won't repeat a lot of what the council members have already included in their remarks, but I will want to highlight 3 things. The Lawndale beat, we do periodically look at the route of the Lawndale beat to see if, in fact, it is actually serving the constituents for which it was meant to serve. And maybe we'll take a look at looking at the schools. I'm not really sure how that would work. But I know at one time we was thinking of perhaps of having it going down to El Camino Village, to the college, because we have a lot of students here in the city of Lawndale that actually, my daughter's been one of them, to actually go to El Camino College. And I think it might be serve well if we made it provided for El Camino College. I'm not really sure. It's a fixed route. And so fixed route buses have different rules than buses that, I forget what they call them, but like you would see the MTA, a metro bus or whatever, because it's a fixed route bus. So you can't decide to just go all over the place or what have you, but you definitely want to make sure that it's serving the constituency or what have you. So if we can take a look at that, I'm in agreement with that as well. The light on Pomona and Rosecrans, I guess I never tried to actually cross because I ride my bike that way pretty often, but I never actually tried to cross Pomona. That's what you're referring to, actually crossing Pomona and Rosecrans. Okay, I might try it out. I'm not going to say I'm definitely going to try it out because it seems like it's challenging, but we definitely need to take a look at it, and we'll take a look at that. Now, Mr. Gary Adams mentioning about residential parking. I don't know if he's still here. Oh, he's still here. So a few years ago, it's actually more than a few years ago, and it's probably still on the books to this day, I would imagine, we did adopt a preferential parking district provision in our code, which allows for the residents to petition to have residential parking, which is, some people call it a parking permits, but in order to have parking permits, you usually have a residential parking district that is formed, and it could be initiated by a resident. Now, that is on the books today, which we passed, I don't know, at least, this was when Hoffman was on the council. Of course, he was the mayor, and Rudolph, I think he was here, what have you. So, no, it wasn't in the 90s. I was on the board. I was on board. I took a look at it, and we passed that. To this day, no one has said that they want a parking districts. It's on the books today to where you can actually, there's a process where, and I'm giving you the short process is you drop a district where your proposed district, right? And then you petition your neighbors, they sign a petition, it comes to the council, we take a look at it, the engineers have to go out and do an engineer report and studies and make sure it's all safe and things of that nature, right? And then with a certain number of in support within that district, it will pass. And we have a similar process there in the city of Los Angeles, for which I work for. It's the same process that most cities that have a parking district. Because the ideal is not to impose it on the people, but have the residents have the choice. If they want a parking district, they will have the choice of doing so by going through those steps. But we can take a look at that and see. I'm sure it's still on the books that we haven't done anything to supersede it. Not to my knowledge, that I remember. So if you can take a look at that, not to institute it because it's already instituted, right? But just take a look at it to make sure it's still, as they would say, good law.
Not a problem, Mayor. We'll take a look at it.
Very good. Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention. And I also want to say with the copper theft, yeah, the copper theft is everywhere. You know, no matter what city you go to, folks are still in the copper wire. We have a big issue, of course, not with just with Frontier, but AT&T. We haven't had the issue in our city with AT&T, but a few other cities have had the issues with AT&T. And it's all the same as with, the copper wire theft. So that's something that we have to, of course, be vigilant with. So if you see someone kind of tampering with the poles, you'll know that's what they're doing. If it seems like something suspicious or what have you, that's what they're doing. They're stealing the wires, copper wires. So we'll keep an eye on that, and law enforcement will keep an eye on that as well. And I think that's all I wanted to add. The rest of the items, I think I'm in agreement with as well. Let me make sure here. Yep, and with that, I will close my comments. I close comments from the council, and that will end public comments. So let's move our agenda. Let's see, where are we? Okay, we are now on the consent calendar. Item G is a consent calendar. What is the pleasure of this body concerning the consent calendar? Item G, 3 through 8.
If there's no questions or distractions.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
ma'am.
Madam Pro Tem would like to make a comment?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I had a quick question because we've gone over the checks that have been issued, credit card statements. where does the petty cash get, put? Because I've never really seen a report where we can review what petty cash has been spent on.
Let's have our finance director.
As far as petty cash, the individual receipts, they don't show up on the AP register because it's not a check that's being issued. The only time you would see the check for the petty cash is when we reimburse that back into the city. So that's when we'd see all the details of it. And that only happens periodically because we don't issue too many petty cash reimbursements. So maybe it's a month or even less than a month is when that actually gets reimbursed, and that's when you'd see all the details come through.
Okay.
I would just be curious to see those. And it doesn't have to be every month, but maybe even quarterly or something.
Okay.
Yeah, we can add that into the report somewhere on the agenda, yes.
Very
Great.
good.
That's my only question. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
So I'll make a motion to,
So the motion's been made by Kearney that we approve the consent calendar and seconded by,
I'll second that.
what's your name?
I don't know.
Seconded by Cuevas. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will the council please vote? We're going to do, well, let me have the city clerk to conduct the vote this time.
Okay, and just so everyone knows, I'm going to conduct an oral roll call vote, but at the same time, I will be documenting it on the system and then display it as per usual. Okay?
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Suarez?
Yes.
Okay. Councilmember Kearney?
yay.
Councilmember Hoffman Gorman?
Yes.
Councilmember Cuevas?
Yes.
And Mayor Pullen Miles?
Yes.
Okay. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everyone, for your patience with this.
Oh, no, thank you. Okay, that'll do for the consent calendar. Next item on the agenda under administration, item 9, execution of a cooperative agreement with Los Angeles County for the Rosecrans Avenue traffic signal synchronization project. Let's have the staff report. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. This is, in a way, something I brought to council on September 16 and just bringing it back again with some more information. This is good news to the city because it relates to the signal on Vermona and Rosecrans. In 2021, Los Angeles County entered into an agreement with Metro for a traffic signal synchronization project on Rosecrans Avenue. This is to expedite the traffic on that street. This is a multi-city project that affects Gardena, Hawthorne, City of Lawndale, City of Los Angeles, and the county. The total project cost is $2,943,000, and Metro has a grant of $1.6 million for that. The county is dispersing these funds throughout the cities involved. The city of Lawndale gets $594,000 from that share. Additionally, the county is contributing to the Lawndale's portion $239,000, which leaves the city an obligation of $186,500. The city currently in our 2024 budget allocated $170,000 to this effort. However, the estimate from where that allocation was prepared was in 2021, and things have gone up. Currently, there's a new estimate of where the city is to The new cost is 186,000, not 170 as originally thought. That brings a need of 18,000 and change to be added, and staff is asking for around number of 30,000, because when we go into construction, we are most likely going to need additional funds at that time. The additional information I have for you now is that when we look at the table on the report, there's quite a discrepancy between the city fees, the final contribution that each city provides. The city of Lawndale needs to come up with $186,000, but the city of Hawthorne, where we share some signals with, they only need to come up with $16,000. Now, we studied in detail the plans, and the reason of such discrepancy is because the signal at the intersection of Jefferson and Rosecrans, that is 100% in the city of Lawndale, and the intersection of Fermona and Rosecrans is 85% in the city of Lawndale, which really basically means all the work is happening in our city. And to my surprise, the border between cities actually has a jagged end on those two intersections. It's not a straight line, and therefore the whole signal system is in our city. The good news is that we're going to fix all timing at all the intersections, so it really is for vehicular traffic, but all the crossing that we've been talking about tonight will be synchronized. And a step further, we will take care of that this week, of making sure the county puts all this into their plans. Now, just to provide our recommendation is that staff recommends that City Council authorize the city manager to execute the agreement between the City of Lawndale and the county. And that's time sensitive, by the way. We need to complete it very soon. And secondly, authorize the appropriation of funds in the amount of $30,000 to the Rosecrans Avenue traffic signal synchronization project, for a total project budget of $200,000 out of the cost of the project that is $2 million plus. So for the city, is not a bad deal. And if I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Can I
Okay,
ask?
very good.
I have two questions.
Yes, ma'am.
You have questions too? Go first.
Go ahead, go ahead.
So all this is coming from Measure M, correct?
It's coming from Measure M, yes.
Okay, and on the plan that you gave us, the broken lines on the first map, on the first plan, that's the division between the city of Hawthorne and city of Lawndale?
That is correct. And that shows that.
And it just happened that all the traffic lights are in Lawndale.
That's correct. At those intersections.
Okay, thank you.
Hoffman Gorman, yes, ma'am.
So just to verify, this is where the issue is that Andrew is bringing up, correct? So this could help with synchronizing them to help with the issue of the length of the lights, correct?
It is one of the intersections that Andrew was referring to in Fermona.
Okay, and then
Yes.
my next comment was, let me think what my other one was. Oh goodness, I had a secondary question. It was about Fermona.
Total budget of
Is this also, do we think that by doing this project on Rosecrans, that we can alleviate some of the issues on 147th Street? That's where I was heading with it. 147th Street, remember, we have all the neighbors on both sides of Hawthorne Boulevard that are saying people are cutting through. Synchronizing these up here, Michael, would you have an idea? Would we maybe see a less reduction of people cutting through the neighborhood?
Possibly. It'd be hard to, without any a survey, a traffic survey, it'd be hard. I would just be guessing that could be a result, but it's hard to say.
Right. Those are my two thoughts when considering this. Thank you.
And just to jump in that 147 question, it should help once the signals are synchronized. There's some more of a green run, and hopefully it helps the whole neighborhood.
Well, I think our goal is to try to keep them out of our interior neighborhoods and keep them on our main thoroughfares. So,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any additional questions? Yeah. I'm just going to say that I'm excited about this project, and I am also glad to hear that it may affect the Fremona intersection. So it seemed like we were, without even knowing, we was fixing the problem at Fremona. As you know, this issue came up at the last council meeting. You brought it back for additional information, what have you. So this is our second look at it. So I'm glad that we are synchronizing, because that's the key to getting traffic moving, especially as the population becomes more dense, right? And the community is being built out more, not just our community, but the surrounding communities that share the streets or what have you. So to synchronize these streets are really important. So I'm glad to see that this is happening, and even more so that it's happening with the Measure M dollars. You know, it's not every day that we, or at least for me, that will approve, you know, a measure, right, that would, whether it's a bond or a tax or what have you, but it's good to see that the Measure M dollars are working for our cities. So I'm glad this project is moving forward. With that being the case, is there any further discussion?
If there's no discussion, I would like to motion to
Okay.
approve.
I'll second it.
So the motion's been made by Cuevas that we approve the staff recommendation and seconded by Kearney. Is there any discussion on the said motion? Seeing none, would the assistant city clerk or the city clerk conduct the vote, please?
Okay, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Suarez,
Yes.
Councilmember Kearney,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman Gorman. Yes. Councilmember Cuevas,
Yes.
Mayor Pullen Miles.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, madam. Next item on the agenda, item 10, approval of renewal agreement with the Los Angeles County Animal Control for after-hours use. Let's have the report. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and distinguished members of the City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this evening. The staff report you have before you is for the approval of a renewal agreement with Los Angeles County Animal Control for after-hours use. As this council knows, we have animal control officers on 7 days a week from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m., and we partner during the daylight hours with SPCA for our kenneling. However, when incidents occur after hours that are emergencies, we do rely on the county to handle any calls for us that we can't do with staff. 5 years ago, in 2019, we had the county do our sole after-hours care for emergencies, and we found that they were charging us quite a bit of money because residents, when they couldn't get a hold of us, they would call them directly, and they would dispatch officers out for things that weren't things that we would send an officer out. Dead cats, barking dogs, things like that, we wouldn't handle after hours, and we wouldn't pay somebody for that. So what we did 5 years ago was we invited staff to come in after hours on call, and it was much cheaper, much more effective than having the county come out. So as a result, we don't rely on the county too much. Just for some stats, in fiscal year 2022 through 2023, we only relied on the county 3 times for a total of $900 in cost. This past year, 2023, 2024, we only called them 4 times for a cost of $1,800. So it isn't something where we rely on them too much, but we do need to have them in play in case our staff can't come in after hours. So we are just asking to renew this contract with them, and it is a pay-per-use contract. and I'm available to answer any questions.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Do we have a rate per hour that they're charging us?
The rate is included in the package. But again,
I
it's...
don't have it in my
Oh.
screen.
Yeah, there are different rates for different things. But again, we only call them for emergencies. So the three things that we would call for emergencies are if an animal attacks a resident or another animal, we would send an officer in to take the report and to confiscate the animal. If an animal is injured, any animal, we'll pick up the animal and we'll take it to get care. And the third case is in case of law enforcement. If they happen to arrest somebody that's got an animal in the car, we'll come in and assist deputies and we'll take the animal and get it to shelter.
So it's based on the scenario?
Yeah, and only those three scenarios. So we, like if someone calls that there's a dog barking, we wouldn't handle that. We would refer them to the sheriff's department. If someone calls that, hey, there's a dead squirrel in the street, we'll just note it and we'll get it the next day. Because we do have officers on from 7 a.m. till 6 p.m., 7 days a week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Any other additional questions? Hoffman, you didn't have a question? I thought you had a question. Okay. Seeing none, what is the pleasure of this body concerning this item?
If there's no
Item
other
10.
question, I'll motion to approve.
Okay, so it's been a motion that we approve the staff recommendation by Cuevas and second by Hoffman Gorman. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, would the council please, let's have the city, the city clerk to conduct the vote, please.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Suarez?
Yes.
Councilmember Kearney?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman Gorman?
Yes.
Councilmember Cuevas?
Yes.
Mayor Poland Miles?
Yes.
For item number 10, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item number 11, as more grant letter recommendation. Let's have the staff report. Who's gonna do
Good
that?
evening, Mr. Mayor and distinguished members of the City Council. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you again. The staff report you have before you is a request for a letter of recommendation from the City Council for the Experimentally Structured Museum of Art, or ESMOA, to assist them in their application for grant funding from the County of Los Angeles. As the Council is aware, in December 2023, ESMOA has opened its doors to the community as a museum and a cultural presence for everyone to participate in. Since they've arrived, ESMOA has been very active, participating in numerous city-sponsored events, including Coffee with a Cop, a Halloween Haunt, the Chalkaway Project, and they have been active with the Beautification Committee in the electrical box artwork. They are asking for our assistance in writing a letter recommending them for a grant that they are applying for with the Los Angeles County Departments of Arts and Culture. I spoke with Barbara Boehm, the Director of Operations, just last week. They rely solely on funding from grants and donations, so this money will be used to keep their doors open, pay their rents and their utility bills. There won't be any specific projects. It'll specifically be to keep them open. So they are just asking if we will write a letter. Staff can write a letter with the council's recommendation, just giving the Department of Arts and Culture our thoughts on them. And I'm available for any questions.
Okay, thank you for that report. Any discussions on this item?
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, Madam Pro Tem Suarez has a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Comment.
Yeah. Was there supposed to be the actual letter of rec included? Because I didn't see that. I mean,
No.
I'm still for it, but I didn't see the letter.
No letter has been written, and we can come back with the letter if the council wishes us to move forward on this.
Okay. Thank you.
If
Any additional?
if there's no further question, I would like to
You're just in the mood of making motions tonight, huh?
move. I'm in a mood. There you go, to move.
Very good.
There you
So the
go.
motion's been made by Cuevas that we that we approve the staff recommendation to approve a letter recommending ESMOA for a grant, and seconded by Kearney. Under discussions, I want to say that ESMOA, if you haven't had a chance to visit them, they have a gallery here in the city of Lawndale. They're relatively new here in the city of Lawndale family, and since day one, they've really jumped into the community and been involved in the community. And it's not just an art gallery, but it's about culture. And so they bring a lot of culture, and so I'm really excited to support this, to see that they flourish and grow here in the city of Lawndale. They came by way of El Segundo, and so I always like to brag to the El Segundo folks that we took some of their culture, away from them and into Lawndale. And so I do support this recommendation as well.
Mayor, council, before you, we'll forward the letter after it's completed for the council's review and email.
Okay, that's fine, yeah. Okay, without any further ado, unless there's any further discussion, there's been a motion and a second and discussion. Madam City Clerk, will you conduct the vote, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Suarez?
Yes.
Councilmember Kearney?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman Gorman? Yes. Councilmember Cuevas?
Yes.
Mayor Poland Miles?
Yes.
For item number 11, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item 12, authorize the purchase of a food scrap kitchen pails for residential organics program. Let's have the staff report.
Thank you. In September 2016, Senate Bill 1383 was passed to serve the statewide effort to reduce the disposal of organics and edible foods that goes in the trash. The city additionally receives grants. We received one for $47,000 in 2022 and $88,000 in June of this year, 2024. So the city currently has a total of $135,000 in the account for Cal Recycle, and it must be used in this program of reducing the waste of organic and edible foods. The city proposes to buy 5,700 kitchen pails to be used at the residences to be recycling the food scraps and then dispose of them in the compost organic can that Republic picks up weekly. The cost of this purchase is $29,850, and that is what I'm here today to recommend that City Council authorize the purchase of the kitchen pails in order for the city to be compliant with the funds of SB 1383. If you have questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I know we had questions last week. I could expand a little bit to answer those questions of last week, if you like.
Okay, very good.
I have a question.
I see Hoffman Gorman. Okay.
My question would be, how are they going to be dispersed into the residents? How are we getting them?
That is a great question. We plan to be distributing the pails at the Public Works Department, so any resident can stop by, pick them up there. We are also going to take them to every single event the city has, no matter which one it is. We will have a little table there and pass them on with education of what's for and all that. And should we run out of them, we will purchase some more to make sure every residence in the city has one of these pails.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'd like to see disposable bags included in that too.
Thank you for that question. And we checked with with Republic, our trash hauler, and because of the way we recycle the green waste that goes to composting, it's recycled in a fast burner. Therefore, they do not accept. It's not that they don't accept it. Actually, is the recycling group does not accept plastic because it burns at a totally different rate and it still remains in the compost. The recommendation is, instead of having plastic bags, even if they are compostable, it is to use paper bags.
That's what I'm talking about.
paper bags can be used on newspaper ads and anything that's paper. Wrap your food scraps in that, put it in the pail, that can go into the green cart.
That's what I'm asking for, the brown paper bags, not plastic. There's disposable brown paper bags you can buy in any hardware store, any grocery store. Because I personally won't use a pail in my house. I'm sorry, I won't. But the bags I do use right now. So I think we should give the option to the residents if they want a pail or the disposable brown bags.
Absolutely. We can look into that, and depending on the cost, we may not need to come to council. If it's below the threshold, we can just buy them and have them available. But we'll give you an update of studying that avenue for sure.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Are we going to be tracking on who is getting the pails if they want to? So let's say I come to you at the city yard and then you have an event and then I grab another one there. That way I don't have 3 or 4 of them, or are we just giving them out just as they come?
We can track them to the maximum extent possible. Some people may end up with more than one, but we can track it the best we can. Absolutely, we can have a list.
This way we make sure that almost the entire city, or whoever wants it, they get one and we don't run out at the last minute.
Absolutely, we will make an effort to track it.
Okay.
For sure.
We have signed for them. What's your address? Maybe that would take care of the problem.
You have to prove you're a resident of the city for sure, and so we have the information, we could track it. It's doable. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to go staff recommendation.
Oh, my mic was off. Hope you guys heard that.
Mayor Pro Tem Suarez?
Yes.
Councilmember Kearney?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman Gorman?
Yes.
Councilmember Cuevas?
Yes.
Mayor Poland Miles?
Yes.
For item number 12, motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item number 13, well, with Jay, we'll start with Jay. Items from the council members, item number 13.
Do we have city manager report?
Okay, yes, do city manager's report first, then we'll come back to that. Good idea.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I'll be quick. Just a heads up that staff's still working on the final analysis to bring forward for consideration for staffing the parks, the 3 parks that are under the full jurisdiction of the city. And just a reminder to the public, the sheriffs have mentioned this, with the graffiti, when you see graffiti on your building or property, please report it to the sheriff's department, the Lawndale Service Center, or the South LA station. That way they can put a report together and then they can go and after these individuals responsible for the proliferation of the graffiti. There's been several cases where parties have, on their private property, have not wanted to file reports, and the sheriffs cannot arrest these individuals without a report. So I just want to encourage the community to please file your report with the sheriff's department at the Lawndale Service Station or the South LA station, please. Thank you. Oh, yeah, and then city clerk's going to announce the elections information. Go ahead.
Thank you, City Manager Moore. With the election fast approaching, I would like to announce the following key election dates and reminders. As of today, October 7th, the vote by mail ballot mailing period has begun. Monday, October 21st is the last day to register online to vote. The city has a 24-hour secure ballot drop-off box. It is located at Hogan Park, 16605 Osage Avenue in Lawndale. From now until 8 p.m. on Election Day, which is Tuesday, November 5th, voters can return their ballots to this drop-off box 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Lastly, the the city will be hosting a one-day mobile vote center on Monday, October 28th from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. that allows for in-person voting like a traditional vote center. The mobile vote center will be located in the courtyard in front of City Hall at 14717 Bureau Avenue in Lawndale. For further information, you may visit the city's webpage at lawndalecity.org or call 310-973-3213. You may also visit the LA County Register's website at lavote.gov or call 1-800-815-2666. That concludes my announcement. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more, Mr. City
Nothing
Manager?
else, Mr. Mayor and
That's it.
Council.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so next item on the agenda is items from the council members. First item is item 13. It's a 30-day amnesty program for residential properties requested by myself. I'm going to ask the, well, I'm going to give you a brief summary of it, then I'm going to, who's going to present this?
I'll present it, Mr. Mayor.
So this item is basically a 30-day program that's going to allow properties that are now out of compliance to come into compliance without having the traditional steps that one must go through, particularly having a site plan which requires an architect and could cost upwards of $2,000 to $5,000 or so, depending on whatever your project is. And so in short, you go from, instead of going to the planning department, you go directly to building and safety without a need to have a site plan. And you have the opportunity to bring items into compliance. This is not asking you to, it's a voluntary program. It's not asking anyone to do anything. It's just those who are seeking to bring their properties and dwellings into compliance. This will allow you to do so in more of a streamlined manner and save you virtually thousands of dollars in the process. So let's hear from the city manager to give a little more details on it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. You know, this was brought forth, this initiative by the mayor. So staff's been looking at providing some kind of type of amnesty program to bring people in that have done, maybe purchased properties. I've heard that, meeting with some of our residents, that they purchased properties with old violations on them, perhaps unpermitted buildings. So this is a program where they don't have to go to the site plan review, planning department. Planning will still review it, but it goes straight to building and safety. So therefore, the deposit will not be required for the site plan review, and they go straight to building and safety. The fees won't be backdated. They'll be based on today's fee rate structure, and they would just submit their plans to building and safety. Planning staff would review the plans to make sure they're conforming with zoning and building and safety. Building and safety staff would plan check it, and the basic tenets are 30, and they have 30 days from January 2nd through the 31st. It has to be residential projects. They have to have no current code enforcement actions. Applies only for structures. Amnesty applications that meet the requirements can apply for a building plan check. No site plan review application would be required. All applicable regulations and zoning and building permit will stay in effect. So basically, this will be a streamlined effort to get people through who are interested. As the mayor's mentioned, this is totally voluntary. Folks have already been into my office asking me about it so that we might get some interest in it, I think. The project's exempt from CEQA. Legal review is not necessary. There will be a minimum impact. That's why we only recommend it 30 days because, you know, the fees and whatnot would impact us, the Community Development Department. Staff recommends approval. Thank you.
And can you explain that the 30 days is so that you get your application or your intent to apply, not that you have to have.
Right, so it's going to take people a while to, so we'll have we'll develop an application. I'll work with Peter. They get their application and building permit application in. It'll hold that place for them and while they're getting their plans developed, because as everyone knows, it takes a while to develop the plans. Yeah. You still have to get them, you know, construction plans developed and then get them in. So they get the application in, we'll get some people through the process pretty quickly and it turn it around a little faster.
Okay. Thank you for that report. Let's have some
Excuse me,
Go ahead,
Mr.
Mr.
Mayor.
Anything?
Madam Pro Tem Suarez would like to speak.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Hello, yes, I had some questions. It mentioned during this time period. I'm trying to understand how far back are you going with violations? Is it just every single violation, or is it ones that occurred, before a certain year? Or I'm trying to understand the time period for.
Yeah,
I got you.
that's a good question. So it'd be anything that's not permitted on the building since the inception of the original building permits all the way to today.
Yeah.
So if they want to take care of them, they're way back in the 50s. We have a lot of those. Some of them were not signed off. They can bring them in if they're interested. And again, it's voluntary. This is not a proactive program. It's reactive to folks coming in interested in taking advantage of it.
So what if a resident hears about this program, but it's not going to be implemented till January? So then they decide, you know what, I'm going to build it and then go to the city. They would still be allowed to do that, right?
Under this program, most likely, yes. So if they decided to move forward and they don't have any current code cases and they qualify for all the requirements, that they could apply.
Okay. I guess my concern with the project is that a lot of times we aren't aware until there is a code case. So I just feel like with the people that are going through those, I don't know. I would be pretty upset if all of a sudden the city tries to do this and, I have an ongoing violation or someone has an ongoing violation. So for example, let's say, your weeds are overgrown. Does that prevent you now from legalizing maybe your illegal addition, or say you have something, maybe the fence? Is that going to prohibit you from legalizing an addition that you had done?
No, this only applies to structures, no other zoning, because the fence and flat work and those are all zoning. This only applies for structures. And we would not, if they don't have
Structural
any.
violations.
Right. So if they don't have any current code violations, staff are only going to be looking at those structures. That's it to legalize.
Okay. Well, my concern is, I know this is it sounds good, but I think that I think just the process needs to be looked at as a whole. Because it's, you do this once and say, oh, well, you had an opportunity, then it's just, the process is still going to remain the same. So I'm not sure that I feel comfortable with this at this point.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you. Any other discussions on this item?
So if I do have an addition today and don't do the paperwork, I could come back in January and say, please approve me, or is that?
Just for the council's edification, yes, people do it right now every weekend. People are out there adding additions on, as even this last weekend. People are out there adding additions on, but they'd be able to apply for, if they don't have a current code case, they would be able to apply, and they would qualify as long as they met all the parameters.
Okay.
No, this is just an initiative by the council, mayor.
Are we able to run it by the planning commission?
It really isn't a zoning item as much as it is a building permit item. That's why, in my read of it, that's why things like the fencing, flat work, overgrown bushes, things like that aren't included. This is a chance to actually sort of skip those, as the city manager said, the site plan review that comes along with any of those violations that then you go through the site plan review process. This is saying that if you have the structure for this 30 days only, you don't have to go through the kind of stricter process. We're going to give kind of a break on it. It does not include those other types of issues, which are the more zoning-related items that would be more proper for a planning commission.
And in addition, this is to address all the, to bring, to promote public safety, get these buildings legalized, because as the council's aware, we have, We have a process with ADUs and garage conversion. This is a great opportunity for folks to come in and either, demo those out legally or apply for the ADU process. Because we do have a lot of, and we do have these issues occurring throughout the weekends, and we want to try to get these people legalized.
I think that's why I would lean towards allowing this, since we've not ever tried anything like this, and we know that we have so many of those violations within the city. If we could knock out even 200, 250, that would be a really great thing and low impact to that resident. So I think I'm leaning towards it. And I think it's a good test to see if we want to run it again, say in a couple of years or 5 years or something. Maybe this is the encouragement that some of our violators need.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, Madam Pro Tem would like to speak.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, no, I'm trying to understand because for those who already got the violation, they're going to have to go through the main process. But if I understand correctly, these people that come, they don't have to do a site plan if it's under the amnesty program. But then what happens is they still have to adhere to all of the codes. So it could be where, they have an illegal addition and it went over the square footage that it was supposed to, so they have to knock it down anyways. Is that correct? Like they're still going to have to go through. I guess the only benefit I see at this point is the actual site plan being removed.
Yeah, and that was, in speaking to a few people on this, that was their main impediment for them not bringing items into compliance is the site plan. As you know, with the site plan, not only do you incur the cost from $2,000 to $5,000, when you do a site plan, and this is what happens sometimes, you do a site plan, and your target is one item, right, that you're looking to fix or to do, and it requires a site plan. When you submit that site plan, the staff will look at that site plan and may say, wait a minute, there's some other things you have on here that's not permitted, which you have to remedy those, before you're able to move ahead with your new project. Without a site plan, all they're looking at is the project that you're proposing. I'm not encouraging someone to just put the project that they want, to permit and not the other project. I'm simply saying that all they're focusing on is what you're submitting, and they don't have the ability to look at any additional, quote unquote, unpermitted uses of what have you, because you have not submitted a site plan. So not only have you saved money from not submitting a site plan, but you're only focusing on that which you are looking to get in compliance, regardless of whether you have anything other issue going on or what have you. And that was the greatest impediment that people are facing, that site plan. And I don't want to expose myself to every other thing that I may or may not have, right? But with the site plan, without a site plan, that's not a variable. That's not an issue.
Mr. Mayor, again, and council, this is just to get buildings legally legalized and to protect the public. And staff, I've already talked to Peter. We're not going to be like we do on the site plan, looking around. We're just going to focus on their illegal addition. And the Mayor Pro Tem brought up something important. If they exceed their square footage, then we'll work with them to reduce it so they can meet the minimum requirements. So we do that anyways, but we definitely, especially on this amnesty and when it signs up for it, we'd definitely be working extra double duty. Peter knows that he'll have to stay here extra hours and staff to accommodate the folks. I've already had several folks come in. They were like the Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, they're a little worried, but they'll field us first before they even submit. And again, we're not going after them. This is total voluntarily.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I think Madame Pro Tem may want to speak again.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I done with the thoughts. I actually like the idea that Councilmember Hoffman Gorman brought up about the trial basis and then seeing maybe implementing it later, depending on the success of it. Yeah. I still do feel, though, for those people that already had code violations because they had to go through the whole process. But maybe what we could do is starting January, turning a new leaf. This is something that I've been very passionate about, with making the codes easier to comply with. I've always trying to figure out ways, and I'm glad this one's coming up. So I would like to see it as a trial basis, and then see the success of it, and then maybe making it some kind of a biannual program or something of that nature.
Very good, thank you. Yes, you had anything? Okay, what is the pleasure of this body concerning such? I can make a motion, okay? Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve a 30-day amnesty program for residential properties that are out of compliance as outlined earlier by myself, the city manager, and in the deliberations of the council. And so that'll be my
Second
motion. And okay, so the motion's been made by Mayor Pulley Miles and Councilwoman Hoffman Gorman. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, Madam City Clerk, will you conduct the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Suarez?
Yes.
Councilmember Kearney?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman Gorman?
Yes.
Councilmember Cuevas?
Yes.
Mayor Pullen Miles?
Yes.
For item number 13, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Next item, item number 14, Mayor, City Council members' reports. It seems like these prints get smaller every month.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's me. Okay, let's hear from Cuevas. Yes, ma'am.
I attended the Youth Development Center Saturday outreach meeting on September 21st. I want to thank staff. It was a great event. Not too many teenagers attended, but whoever was there, their feedback was very valuable. I think one theme was having a community liaison for medical and mental health, or a counselor there, which would be nice to work with the county on that. I also attended via Zoom the South Bay COG Homeless Service Task Force on October 2nd. We keep trying to work with different agencies to provide assistance to the homeless community. I attended also the West Basin Harvest Festival. We had one of our residents was there with her baby, and they had a Halloween costume contest, and she came in third place. So that was nice to see. I have a question, I don't know who this is for. Have we done a survey on speed signs throughout the city? I've driven around, I only see one here and there. Is there any money or any funds that we could use to look into that?
We can certainly look into that. The residential streets of 25 miles an hour and below, or 25 miles an hour rather, do not get signs because it's part of the law. And those are the costly one because majority of signs are to 25 miles an hour in the local streets. But we will look into it for sure, make sure we are in compliance with enough signage and all that.
And also school signs. Normally you get
The crossings.
crossings or, a sign that says school crossing. I haven't seen them. Maybe I missed them, but
Sure.
I don't know if they're hiding somewhere behind a tree or.
Sure, we will look into that.
We could look into
and I'll let you know. I'll make sure we have enough where they need to be.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Then the other thing is the online permit payment system. What's the status on that? And also, have we come up with a cost of it? And did we bid on it, or I don't did we decide
that-
who it was?
Yeah, staff's still working with City View. We got to make sure we're in compliance with our purchasing policies. Staff will be bringing that forward. We have Pay Mantis as well as the software. It's kind of pricey. We'll be bringing it forward.
But we are still working on it,
Yes,
and
it's almost ready to go. The agreements, they were trying to, without saying anything, they were trying to go above the 5% max cap. So we got that worked out finally by the end of this agenda. So we're going to try to push it forward and bring it forward for council's consideration.
is this a system we're currently using?
Yes, so we're going to try it out in community development, which is the direction I heard from the council. The first, get something for community development. We have several other departments where we're looking at the software. They changed over, and before I got here in 18, 19, previous administrations, 2 departments are on different types of stuff, systems that aren't working too well exactly the way we thought they were going to work. So, but ComDev, I think MSD still has CityView and Public Works. They have CityView. We're looking at first test running this with this software to see how well it goes, online payments, as well as this online tracking system for the community.
So we're thinking maybe 2025 for the online payment?
As soon as we bring it forward, I don't know how long it would take the consultant to get it up there, but we got to set it up maybe a month or two, couple months to get it online. Yeah, about 2025, because we're running into the holidays. That sounds right.
All right, thank you.
Yes, since the last council meeting, I attended the California Contract Cities Association Legislative Committee via a Zoom. I also attended the Lawndale Skate Park and Youth Center Community Input Meeting, and I also was surprised at the number of interest dots that were on the pictures for kids that were looking for counseling. That was rather surprising. So, and I too, I wish there were more kids there. Unfortunately, there weren't, but the ones that were there were pretty open to sharing, and I appreciated that. I also attended the Lawndale Cleanup Day, and that was surprising how much trash that we picked up from the boulevard, those of us that were out on the boulevard, in just a short amount of time. It's amazing what you find out there. I also attended the Lawndale High Athletic Ribbon Cutting for the sports complex, and I attended the Lawndale High Homecoming game. Sadly, they lost, but a real familiar face by the name of Mike Estes might have been the referee, or his twin brother. And then on Saturday, I also attended the West Basin Water Harvest event. That is always, if you haven't ever been to that event, I encourage you to go. That is just a fun place to go, and the learning doesn't stop. I still think of the plant over here in El Segundo as the new location for West Basin, and they told us it's 30 years old, and that's kind of surprised. Some of them shared some of the challenges that are coming up on them when I spoke to them personally. Hyperion's looking at maybe doing some water recycling themselves, and that would eliminate one of their sources of water for that center by thousands and thousands of gallons. So it's going to be interesting how it all plays out, but such a good time to go and learn. So that's all I have. Oh, wait a minute. I do want to remind everybody, and I have one question. I want to remind everybody that on October 19th at the Public Works Yard, we're having a shredding event from 9 o'clock till noon. So if you don't have a shredder in your house and it's time to clean out all your old bills and your things that need to be shredded, that's a good time to go and take it, and it can be shredded, I believe, on the spot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where you can watch it.
Correct.
It's not going into a truck and then hauled off. They're actually putting it in and it's shredding.
That's correct. You can
Yes.
watch it be
So you know it's
shredded.
gone.
Yes.
Yes, so I encourage residents to go through their paper and eliminate some there. And also, since we have put out here within the last couple of weeks our rebate program, I was wondering if you could give us an update on if we're getting any phone calls or interest in it by residents coming into City Hall. Are people noticing it?
Yes, so we have put out flyers and alerted the local businesses as well. So I believe we did get some interest in it. It's still fairly new, so I mean, I can come back and give you an update later at a later time. But
Okay,
we
great.
have had a few phone calls come in.
Great. I'm excited to see that program happen. I'm excited for not just the resident, but also for our businesses to be able to get some more work going on in the city. And with that, I'll give it to the guy on my right.
Guy on the right, guy on my left.
Okay.
Mr. Kearney.
I attended several things. First one was at Torrance Refinery Open House on the 21st. I've never been there before. If you have a chance to go through that, it's exciting. I've been to El Segundo, but this one blows El Segundo away. Then I also attended the Royal Cut Barbershop grand opening, where an individual next to me got a haircut that took him 45 minutes to cut his hair.
And I didn't have any to
Like,
start
you didn't
with.
have any hair, yeah. That was a great grand opening. It was fantastic. I told him after Santa's sleigh, I'll be back there to get my haircut there. I also attended the Central Valley High School District Industry Partner Breakfast at Academy at Hawthorne High. That was well attended. I did attend this City Cleanup Day. This year we had more teenagers out there cleaning up than I ever seen before. I think it's from our commissioner or committee member, Olga, speaking at the last meeting, that got people pumped up. Even members of the city staff was out there picking up trash. I attended my lobby trust and oversight committee. We paid out money. I attended the ribbon cutting ceremony at Lawndale High School, the athletic complex. It's beautiful. Go Cardinals. I attended the West Basin Water District Breakfast and Harvest Festival. Like Rhonda said, if you ever get a chance, this year, they had a new squeezy stress balls, the stress balls. They have one at the toilet. You can stress ball toilet. So I got a couple for my wife because, I stress all the time. And then I also want to mention that last year we did the Santa sleigh on Route 5. I want to know if it's okay to put us down on Route 5 again this year. And that consensus whenever you get a chance.
What night is it, Pat? Do
Right.
you remember?
Yeah, I just happen to have
We
it
don't
on
know
my
which one is
phone.
Route 5.
Route 5. It's the Friday, the first week. So let's see, 9, 10, 11, 12, the 13th. Friday the 13th. Oh, what a, yes.
You would pick
Santa
that?
sleigh, yeah,
You would pick
why
that
not?
one? Yeah. Why not?
So can I put us down if consensus, or it's a Friday night, so we can go
Might as
drink it
well.
afterwards? Oh, yes? Thank you, I put you down. And with that, I think I can pass it on to Madam Pro Tem.
Okay, Ms. Flores.
Due to obvious reasons, I couldn't be that active, but I did attend for briefly the beginning of the last South Bay Cities Council of Government. A lot of residents were concerned due to a letter of support for the 405, what are they calling it? The auxiliary lanes, or otherwise known as the expansion project. Luckily, we were able to get that letter of support tabled. I also did attend the Royal Cut Barbershop grand opening. I love it when I hear about families that come to Lawndale and decide to do their business here. So it was really nice meeting the family. Yeah, maybe I'll even go and get a haircut there too. But that's all I had, and I'll pass it along.
All right, thank you. So I attended the Mayor's Cup, the annual Mayor's Cup, the game with Lusinger versus Hawthorne. And of course, once again, the Lusinger Olympians brought home, once again, the Mayor's Cup. So congratulations to the Olympians. I also attended the Lawndale High School Athletic Facilities Ceremony. Wonderful ceremony. So with the addition of, I mean, you thought that Lusinger did a nice job on Lusinger. Now they did an excellent job once again on Lawndale. Go Cardinals.
Lawndale got the better
Go
deal.
Cardinals times 3. I want to that means I have three daughters at Cardinals. I want to congratulate them on a wonderful facility. Once again, that's our tax dollars at work. It's bond money at work, and they
Can
did
I
a
just add to
fabulous
that?
job on that. Yes, ma'am.
Another comment on that. Just recently, I got to go over to the Chargers' new training facility over in El Segundo, and Lawndale Highs is equal to, if not nicer, than what the Chargers are using over here. It is incredible.
It is really nice. They did an outstanding job. So kudos go to the principal and the staff and the coach staff and all those in the athletic department. Great job. I also attended a portion of the Lawndale High School homecoming game against Maricosta. Costa. Is it Costa or Costa?
Maricosta.
Yeah, there you go. And I also attended the Lawndale Cleanup Day. And you're right, this year we had a lot of students. I was really surprised by the number of students that participated this year. And so, yeah, thank you, Olga. They did an excellent job. And they actually picked up a lot of trash. Also attended the regular meeting of the Los Angeles County Sanitation District meeting, as well as the grand opening and ribbon cutting for Royal Cuts grand opening. A nice family establishment there. I want to bring up 2 items. Although I didn't have the opportunity to attend the Youth Development Center meeting, I was, just like you guys mentioned, like really surprised and delighted to hear about the need for, or their desire for counseling services. And that's what this center is all about. It's not just a recreational or center for lounging and playing, video games and things of that nature, which there's definitely a place for that. Right, this is a development center to develop our youth into skillful, productive, talented professionals as they grow, and to have services such as the counseling services, and for them to actually voice the need for counseling services. Because a lot of times, you may not know that you need counseling services, or the counseling services are needed. So for the teenagers to really know that counseling services are needed, I think that is a great testament to what this center can do for our youth. So I was glad to hear that and delighted to hear that was one of the things that they had mentioned in terms of services. Also, the Mr. City Manager, did the Finance Department win an award? Seemed like I read an award.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, they won an award for account. I'll let Ron mention the award they won.
You forgot to mention that award.
Yeah, we did win an award. It's on our last year's financial report. It's issued by the GFOA, which is the Government Finance Officers Association. So we did win that award for excellence in financial reporting.
Excellent in finance and reporting. Congratulations. And the last thing I want to mention, a graffiti removal. Some residents have commented that they appreciate the fast removal of our graffitis. Now, graffiti, of course, goes up and down, depending on what's going on, as they say, in them streets, right? And so you may see some graffiti from, I don't know who, I'm not going to say who it's from or what have you, but typically, sometimes that means something may have, as they say, went down. The only how I can say it is to say it how they would say it, right? And that would sometimes manifest in an increase of graffiti. But our staff is really diligent, and our graffiti team is really diligent in in abating the graffiti. So I'm encouraging everyone, homeowners, business owners, when you see it, as soon as you see it, call it in. And it doesn't have to be on your property. You see it on a commercial property, call it in, so our graffiti team can get to it as soon as possible, because they do an excellent job. But they could be on one side of the community focusing on, graffiti and other issues or what have you, and there could be a need in another part of the community. And so you are our eyes and ears. So feel free, please call that graffiti number in as soon as you see graffiti, whether it's on private property, commercial property, or alike, so our team can abate the graffiti. And with that.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, Madam Pro Tem would like to speak. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I forgot to mention a few things. I wanted to thank Shirley because that was one of my comments about the online payments and tracking system. I know I requested that a while ago, so I was hoping that that would come here sooner than later. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up is a resident brought up how the mail's getting stolen. So I think we should look into that, especially with ballots dropping. I don't want there to be any kind of scandal in the city. So if maybe we could get a briefing by the sheriffs or the post office and look into that matter.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, the sheriff's looking into it, as well as the post master and the postal police.
And the FBI, both, they all.
Yeah.
looking into it.
Right. Unfortunately, that does happen. They're looking for checks and stuff a lot of times. Okay.
I
You got
forgot
one
to
more?
mention,
Okay, I'm
I forgot to
gonna start charging
mention,
you.
I left work early to go to this event.
Okay.
So I'm going to get in trouble now,
You must
but
mention it.
I went to the Lawndale High School athletic ribbon cutting, like Rhonda said.
Oh, really?
I think this is a professional feel. It's exactly like the Chargers training facility. So we did good with our measure, our bonds supporting this. But I can't wait to see Hawthorne Field also, because if it's the same as this, they might, you might not win the championship.
I dream.
Okay. Okay. All right, with that, we'll close comments from the mayor and city council members. And we do have 3 closed sessions. I'm going to ask the city attorney to give us a provision of the closed session.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Yes, as you said, 3 closed sessions, a public employee performance evaluation for the city manager under Government Code 54957B, 1 item of anticipated litigation potential initiation under Government Code 54956.9D4, and 1 item of significant exposure to litigation under 54956.9D2. For the benefit of the public, the Mayor Pro Tem will be joining the closed session via phone. If Zoom does go down, it will not stop closed session from continuing, but staff will endeavor to get it back up before we come back out to close the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Let's have a comment from the public. This is regarding the closed session, right? Okay.
Good evening. Speaking on the city manager's evaluation, in my 12 years attending these council meetings, I've never seen the city manager undergo an evaluation due to vague and unfounded complaints brought up during public comments. This appears to be a political setup, and the divisiveness brought to the community should not be tolerated. At the Redondo Beach Planning Commission meeting years ago, then Director of Community Development Moore presented what the impact of Galleria project would have in Lawndale. As a result, the developer agreed to pay Lawndale $2 million once the project commences here. He also oversaw the Hawthorne Manhattan Beach sale and added an additional $2 million here. During previous city manager Kevin Chung's management, we saw an exodus of top city employees, including Mr. Moore. Mr. Chung's contribution was 2 homeless hotels for the city, despite complaints from residents. It took the council 2 years to get rid of him. It was unfortunate for the city that the council, it was fortunate for the city that the council was able to entice Mr. Moore shortly after Kevin Chung's departed. Since Mr. Moore's return, a diversity of new businesses such as Target, Sprouts, CNS Garden Center, Under the Radar Records, and several others are providing revenue. Plans are being submitted for a hotel at the Hawthorne Manhattan Beach corner. For all those residents complaining about Lawndale, how many have attended one of Mr. Moore's twice monthly open door meetings? His 1-minute more videos provide Lawndaleans with city updates. The recently revived neighborhood watch meetings provide an open forum for residents to interact with law enforcement. Since there's a shortage of sheriffs to add to Lawndale patrols, Mr. Moore found a creative solution by hiring a private security firm to help patrol the city. One of the most critical issues facing Lawndale is the metro, cutting through the city. With his extensive knowledge and his love of the community, he is the most formidable force to fight Metro on one of the most impactful matters facing Lawndale. Mr. Moore is often here 6 to 7 days a week. He gave up his 4th of July last year to cite illegal fireworks, and he and staff brought in over $100,000 in revenue. I am certainly missing many other contributions Mr. Moore made to this city. During my 25 years in city government, I've worked with various city managers. Mr. Moore is one of the most dedicated and brings creative ideas to the city. Unfortunately, the stark reality is that the city needs Mr. Moore more than he needs this city. He would be successful in other cities with higher pay, and let's hope a recruiter does not steal him away. Lawndale now has a good management team, but replacement of top-level people in a city this size is not an easy task. If your agenda for the community is to provide a well-formed, stable government, then support Mr. Moore's accomplishments rather than listen to unfounded political rhetoric. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other wishing to speak on this item before we go to closed session, including any on Zoom?
There is no one wishing to speak on Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Seeing none, we will retreat to closed session.
Look what time it is.
Well, I can't, it's 9, almost 9.
Yeah, it's 9. 7:30 went by. 7:30 went by. Retreat.
I couldn't think of another word.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to do that.
Yes, next time we're going to try to put it up on the screen for you.
I would say Oh, that's his name? DJ Edwards. Okay, we have returned from closed session. I'm going to ask the city attorney to give the report of the closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, the council held discussions of all three closed session items. No reportable action was taken. Item 15 has been concluded and will not be on future agenda. Items 16 and 17 may be on future agenda if the city attorney feels they're necessary. And I should report that the Mayor Pro Tem departed the meeting at 10:19. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, I want to adjourn this meeting tonight in honor of a long-standing Lawndale resident. He was in Lawndale for a long time. DJ Edwards. You may remember DJ Edwards. He was actually our DJ.
He lived right next door to me.
Right next to Councilman Kearney. He was our DJ at a lot of our community events. He would be the one emceeing and DJing. He unfortunately passed away recently. And we want to adjourn this meeting in his memory, in his honor. The funeral services for Edwards, DJ Edwards, is Saturday, October 12th at 11 a.m. at Crenshaw Christian Center, which is located at 7901 South Vermont Avenue. That's 7901 South Vermont Avenue, Los Angeles. And we're going to adjourn this meeting in his honor tonight. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the City Council will be held October 21st at 6:30 p.m. in these here chambers. It is now 10:20. We are adjourned.
You know, his name was Edwards.
Yeah, I saw it on here. I thought that was a typo.
No, that's right. No, that's
because it says Edward Edwards.
Yeah, that's really his name.
Like, I thought that was a typo right there.
He named his son Edward Edwards Jr.
Oh,